Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. However you want to live your life, it is Coach Baird coming to you live from the Baird Cave. You're listening to the Baird Necessities. This is episode number 15. Thank you to Wyatt Whitman for joining me last week. Thank you for all who've listened to my past episodes. If you haven't yet, you can catch up on your own time. You can find me on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and yes, I've added YouTube, my own YouTube channel. There we go. You can check me out. The Baird Necessities on YouTube. It's the Baird Necessities podcast on YouTube. Don't worry, there will be videos eventually. I will get some promotional videos going out, so I can't wait to do that. Please follow me on Twitter at TheBairdNEC or send me some email at TheBairdNEC@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. My next guest. Okay, this is a good one. We've had a little bit of an issue with scheduling problems. I apparently don't know what the difference between Eastern Standard Time, Central Standard Time, and Mountain Standard Time, and it apparently shows because several times that I've tried to schedule this with her, I had no idea what my time was and what her time was. So we finally synced up, and it worked out pretty well. I'm really excited about this one. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. And we talk about something that I have no idea what I'm talking about, and that is running. I do not know anything about running marathons, running track, running anything, and it shows by the body that I have. You know, you got to keep it the way it is, and you got to stay in your lane, and you got to know what you know. But I learned a lot of great things. I had a good time, and she was a great guest. And I hope to have her on again some other time after the Olympic trials and see what happens. So we'll talk more about that later on. My next guest, she graduated from Gull Lake High School in 2004. She went on to get her bachelor's degree in statistics from Michigan State University. Go Green! While she was there, she joined their cross country team, which is an interesting story in herself. She didn't intend on going to college to run, but she ended up joining the cross-country team. So, yes, I don't want to give it too much away, but yeah, that's what happened. After graduation, she received her Juris Doctor of Law from the University of Michigan Law School. She currently resides in Boulder, Colorado, where she's currently training for the 2020 Olympic trials, which is going to be held in Atlanta, not Houston, like I stupidly said. Again, I put my foot in my mouth. What a surprise. So we're going to be talking about something that's going to be way out of my league again, running. Joining me in the Baird Cave this week is Laura Portis.
Good afternoon, this is Laura.
Yeah, Laura, it's Coach Baird. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
We did say 8 o'clock tonight, right? Or did I?
Yep, nope, it's good. It's good time.
Okay, good. I am ready whenever you are.
I just have to warn you, I feel like I've been, the past couple of days, I'm coming down with something, so my voice is probably not. In fact, let me go grab a glass of water.
No problem.
To have. All right.
All right. Well, you're sounding good. It doesn't matter. I'll make this sound good. All right.
Okay.
Before we go any farther, go green.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Go white.
I always have to throw that in there. Everybody knows me as a huge Spartan fan, so anytime I get a chance to talk to someone who went to Michigan State, I'll talk their ear off. So, but
that is definitely my reputation out here as well. Is an insane Spartan fan.
Some questionable paths that you've taken that made me wonder what was going on, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
I have never worn a shirt with any maize or a black M on it. Right.
Yeah, I had a former Spartan, Kristen Haney, on one of my past episodes. She was nice to talk to. So right now this makes two Spartans and 2 Wolverines. So I'm excited. So
yeah, I remember Kristen Haney. She was at Michigan State, I think, around the time I was.
Yeah, I looked at the timeline and it looked like you guys were probably around the same time. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't know her. I just watched her play. But
my first podcast I ever did was with Drew Blakely, and I sent out an email to Gull Lake High School to all the teachers just to kind of fish for some people to listen to it. And I asked them, who could I get else that would be an interesting story? And Mrs. Flynn sent me a nice little email with your name in it. It was very impressive, all the things that you've done so far and what you're doing right now. So I jumped at the chance to talk to you. So hopefully we can make this quick and easy. And I know this is going to be a tremendous story. I feel bad that we haven't been able to hook up soon enough because of, well, obviously my own stupidity with the whole time difference. Because you're in Boulder, Colorado, am I correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So what time is it in Boulder, Colorado right now?
It is 6 p.m.
No, it's 8 p.m. in Michigan time. So I can't get over the fact that there's different time zones. I don't know why, but my brain cannot process anything past that. So, and to be honest, I only thought you were an hour behind. So
yeah, no, we're Mountain time. We're pretty pretty close to the edge of it. But yeah, we are on mountain time. Hopefully I'll have some interesting things to say that will help you. I don't know.
Well, just looking at your resumes just so far, I mean, and the fact that I have no idea, I don't know anything about running, so I'm going to try to not sound like an idiot and let you do most of the talking. So, okay. So Laura is the daughter of Brad and Ellen Portis. Do you have any other siblings?
Yeah, my sister ran at Tri-State University, which it's now Trine. They've renamed it. It was an NAIA school. She was the 10K national champion at her senior year, I believe. But she played softball in high school. And my younger brother lives in D.C. now.
Okay. So running is kind of three of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now is running in your blood then? Obviously, your dad was the track and field and the cross-country coach. Am I correct? At Gull Lake?
Yes, a long-time coach at Gull Lake. I mean, I wish I could give you the exact number of years, but I can't. But just, I have very retro-looking photos of his early years there. He's been around for a while.
Do you remember when he retired?
He just recently retired from coaching. I think he retired from teaching last year, but he retired from coaching a couple years prior. So I would say probably around 2015, maybe 2016.
Okay. I started in 2007, so we probably cross paths every once in a while. So now, when did you start running?
Yes. I started running. Well, my father was the coach, and I don't know if it's still organized this way, but elementary school was let out, and then high school had already been let out, so I would show up at practice. And in the summers, there was practice every day as well. And my dad was never like, well, you don't have to run, but I mean, you're going to be stuck here anyway, so you can either sit and do nothing, or you can run. So I was fairly young, I guess, when I started, running very short distances. I remember some local 5K races when I was in middle school, but I would say probably 9 or 10 was when I started running.
Okay. When we talk about 5Ks and 10Ks, how long exactly are these distances?
In mileage, that would be a 3.1 miles is a 5K, so a 10K, 6.2. But in high school, the distance that the cross country distance is 5K, and that's the farthest. They don't have any track events that go farther than that. The farthest track event is the 2-mile. High school, you don't really run to what we would consider, I guess, distance running.
So does cross country kind of look down on track and field, it seems like? I'm getting a little hint of that.
No, I mean, no, not most athletes. So in Division I, if the school has two programs, if they have cross country and they have track and indoor track, I mean, if you want to be on the team, you're doing all three. So it's really a subset of the track athletes that are doing cross country at the collegiate level. And then in high school, people are more generalist. So maybe someone does soccer, someone does track. I don't think there's any sort of necessarily, sort of hierarchy there, but
right.
That's just kind of how it plays out in terms of distance. The cross country is the farthest distance that you'll run in your college or in your high school running career.
Now, did you run track too when you were in high school?
Yep, I ran track and cross country all 4 years of high school.
Nice. Now, again, like I said, this is way out of my lane, but what exactly goes on in a cross country event?
Well, it's pretty simple compared to a track meet where you have, a myriad of track and fields, all kinds of stuff going on. It's just one race. I mean, there's generally a men's race and a women's race, JV varsity perhaps, not necessarily if it's a smaller meet. But yeah, it's just one race, same distance. Everyone runs 5K.
Okay.
And it's team scored, so your top 5, your score is the top 5 places. So you want a low score. So like if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 placing, you would have a much lower score, and you'd win.
Gotcha. Now these courses, are they just set up anywhere? Do you run through the woods, run on track? I don't understand how that really works.
Yeah, I guess that's like up to each home meet to decide. So Gull Lake runs theirs at Kellogg Forest, which was notoriously the hardest course in the conference, the slowest times, biggest hills. All the other teams hated that course. Michigan State runs on Forest Acres Golf Course. It's pretty flat, pretty fast, pretty good spectator-friendly course. Not as interesting as like a Kellogg Forest. Yeah, it just kind of depends. The home meet is in charge of where they want to do that.
Now for practice, would you guys go run that or kind of give yourselves a home field advantage?
Yeah, definitely. Not every day, because most days, it's just simpler to run around the high school on the roads. But definitely before meet there, we would at least get one day to go out there and get some practice on it. But I think that a lot of the home course advantage just came from just being tougher. That was kind of the culture our high school coaches kind of tried to instill in us. And that would be my Coach Portis, my dad, Coach Flynn, who you mentioned earlier, and also Coach DeVault, who is retired.
Okay. Yeah, I talked to some of the coaches. I believe Blackburn is one of the coaches that is doing it now. And he talks about some of the starts. And are the starts as brutal as they sound they are, like elbowing, hair pulling, stuff like that?
Yeah, especially at the larger invitationals when you have a ton of teams and you're squeezed into a space, that's about as wide as two people, the whole team is. So it's a stampede, and sometimes, and people are wearing spikes too, so
Nice.
There's that element of it. It can get pretty nasty. People fall. Yeah, it's what a way to start a race with that kind of adrenaline kick, I guess.
Right. Now, how do you mentally prepare yourself for a race like that?
So it's been a long time since I've ran in high school. I mean, I'm old at this point, but yeah, I mean, a lot of it's really having a team around you. Older, when you're less experienced, you have older people to go off of, and when you are, the more senior figure on the team, you're kind of worried about, focused on, I would say, setting the tone for the younger athletes. So that in itself is kind of, I guess, just you got to stay focused, and there's always things to think about, race strategy to think about. So I wouldn't say it's easy to not get caught up in all the excitement and let nervous energy kind of take over. It's definitely easy to do that, but there's enough things to focus on to direct yourself that it can be manageable.
Now in high school, did you win any awards?
I was not a very good high school runner. I was never all-state or I think maybe one year in track, I was the conference champ in the 2-mile. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't really remember. Like I said, I wasn't super fast. I was never all-state. I was never recruited in college. I got one offer letter. Well, not even an offer letter. I got like a form letter from, I think, Saginaw Valley State or something. Just like, hey, maybe do you want to think about trying out for our team? But it wasn't like I was a prospect by any stretch of the imagination. And there was definitely no like all-state accolades or anything of that nature.
Yeah, you kind of just led into my next question and answered it for me. I was going to ask if you got recruited to run anywhere else, but obviously you just said you got the form letter from Saginaw Valley. So you picked MSU. So why did you go to MSU?
I have always been an MSU sports fan, really into basketball. I was in the I-Zone while I was at Michigan State for 4 years. And also it's a bit of a legacy school. Both of my parents went there. Both of my grandparents went there, several aunts and uncles. My grandfather played baseball. He's actually a very successful pitcher at Michigan State. I think still holds a record there.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I knew I needed to go to a big school where I would have options. And I've just always dreamed of being a Spartan. And at that point, I figured my running career was probably over. I definitely didn't think I ever had what it took. Maybe I could have at that point gone to a small school and ran, but that just wasn't. Like I said, I had always dreamed of being a Spartan, and I know I wouldn't have been happy going to some smaller school just to get a shot at running.
Right. Now, you said you were part of the ISOM. How crazy is that?
I mean, it's everything that you think of. You get there so early, and you think, oh my gosh, like, how are these people have so much energy to just jump up and down for hours and hours and hours? But there's always a good team to cheer for, so
Right.
It makes it a little bit easier. And that was back in the day. I don't know if this is still the case, but we were pretty much the only program that gave the student section 3/4 of the lower bowl. That's unheard of. Those are very high value seats that could go for a lot more money. And Coach Izzo was a big proponent of giving those seats to students to have that energy. So, it always felt like we had to earn it and show up every night. But man, just now, even going to games and being I can't stand sitting far away because I was so spoiled for those years, just being able to see everything happening on court right there.
Yeah, why eat a hamburger when you were given steak the whole time?
Yeah, absolutely.
So who was your favorite Spartan?
Well, I was there, either Maurice Agner or Shannon Brown. Probably, I was a big Darrell Summers fan. That was more of my senior year, but coming in,
Yep.
yeah, Mo Agner, Shannon Brown. I was a big fan.
Right.
When I was in high school, I was a big Drew Neitzel fan. He was gone by the time I got there.
Yeah. He's probably one of my favorite Spartans.
There are so many I could go on. On and on.
I've got an autographed picture of the 2007 team. Yeah, my buddy and I went to Michigan State Wisconsin football game, and then afterwards they said, "Hey, if you want to come over to the Breslin Center, they're going to be doing a green-white scrimmage, and you get to go watch that for free." So we walked over there, and then afterwards they said, "Hey, if you want to get autographs, come on down to the court." So we got to hang out on the court. Got Tom Izzo.
Wow, what a day!
Yeah, it was a great day. Probably one of my favorite things that I have hanging up on my wall is that with it's got Darrell Summers, Kalen Lucas, Remar Morgan. So even a little freshman by the name of Draymond Green is on there. So. But, yeah.
Oh gosh, I remember him.
Yeah.
He was so fun to watch. Even now, being out in the Mountain Time Zone, that's one of the best things is I can watch the Warriors.
Right.
Because before it was hard. It was being in Eastern Time.
Right. So you're going to Michigan State. Why did you pick statistics?
So, like I said, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I kind of bounced around on a lot of different things. I was really a big history fan. I loved history. I found it super interesting, but I also did like math. After my freshman year, so I was undecided for a while, but after my freshman year, I went home, and that summer I worked at a factory graveyard shift making car parts. And sometimes it was graveyard shift, sometimes it was second shift. I would never know from week to week. So I couldn't really it was just rough and it was boring. And I was like, man, I need to find a major where I'm going to get a job. Statistics, actuarial science. Apparently people hire those people. Sounds good.
Right. Do you remember what factory you worked at?
It was Alcoa out in Mattawan.
Okay. Yep.
Or something.
I know where that's at.
It was, Alcoa Automotive.
Nice. So how was it adjusting to college?
I probably adjusted a little too well, I guess. I mean, not well in a successful sense, but just tried to take advantage of all the free. I mean, there were some, we would just, play poker till 4 o'clock in the morning and then just be irresponsible. My grades weren't great my freshman year by any means. Running I was doing, as a social activity with the club, but not really focused on anything competitively. Yeah, I was just loving it, but at the same time not really focused and not really it was fun for a while, but then I start to feel like, is something missing here? Should I be focused on something a little bit more than maybe just like partying and playing board games? I don't know.
Right. Now, did you plan on running in college?
No, not at all. I absolutely thought my career was going to be over going out of high school. I thought this is it, and I knew with the decision of going to Michigan State that there wasn't really going to be room for me on the team. They were taking people, mostly from power conferences, and really fat people that beat me at the state meet by like over 2 minutes, and I knew I had no shot, and I knew that if I wanted to run, I would have had to go to a smaller school, but that wasn't what I wanted to do, and I made that decision of going to Michigan State, knowing full well that was probably the end of my running career, and I was okay with it.
Okay, so like you said, you just wanted to run for fun, and you started on the club team. Now, how did you get discovered by the actual cross-country team?
So I was probably, it was like spring senior year, really, or sophomore year, late sophomore year, and my roommate at the time was in some sort of kinesiology sports class, and they sent out an email to all these people saying the track team is going to have an open tryout, which is kind of a rare thing. It's not something they do every year. I think that they were just frustrated with how their indoor season had gone. The coaching staff was relatively new at the time, and they were just kind of looking to see what they could get from the student body. So she was like, "You need to show up and do this," and I was like, "No," and she just kept pressuring me to, and some of my other friends did, and I was like, "Okay, fine, we'll see what happens." And so I went to the tryout, and there was like a handful of distance girls, and they said, "Well, show up to practice. You're not on the team. You don't get the team gear, and like we're not going to even write workouts for you." It was later. Our coach explained like he didn't want to get to know us because he knew that he was going to have to cut most of us. And they gave us like a workout plan for the summer, and then the next fall we had a non-scored meet where just everyone ran unattached, but they allowed runners to run in unattached. And after the meet, the coaches came up to me and they said, "Hey, come to our office for a meeting next week." And at the meeting, they told me, "Well, so you clearly put in some work this summer. How would you like to be on the team?" And I was, of course, ecstatic. I was like, "What? This is insane. I'd love to." And then they said, "Well, just so you know, some of the people that you've been running with probably won't be at practice any longer. Some of the people in the group that had been on the open tryout." And I was, okay, I'm prepared for that. And then I showed up at practice, and literally they were all gone.
Wow.
I was the only one that they took from that tryout. So that was an adjustment again, but I mean, it was a series of adjustments, I would say, was my experience with the team, not just one. I mean, first it was kind of surreal, even, just being at practice and then being officially on the team. And then from that point, making the travel squad and then earning a scholarship. It was just sort of like, it never really felt like expected at any point. It was just kind of like a wild ride the whole time.
So what kind of scholarship did they offer you?
I don't even remember. It was not till my senior year. I just got a check in the mail, like a refund, tuition refund. I didn't even know what it was for. And then my mom called me. I was like, "Did you get like a refund check?" And then I was like, "I think so. I'm not really sure what it was about." She was like, "It says athletic aid." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess that's a scholarship." So that's pretty neat. But it was definitely a lot more than I was expecting.
Right.
So
I
wasn't about to complain.
Going from not even thinking about running in college to getting a scholarship, that's pretty awesome right there.
Yeah, I remember the first time, like, lining up with my team at a race and wearing in the uniform, wearing the uniform, and it was overwhelming, like emotionally in some respects, thinking about my grandfather also wearing the Spartan uniform, and just something I never thought possible.
So
But what an experience.
it's one of my
Yeah,
favorite.
definitely.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about being in any part of a team is just wearing the uniform and representing what's on front and not what's on the back. So that's cool that you had a grandfather that played at MSU and that you got a chance to wear green and white. So
Yeah, it was special.
so what was it like traveling? Like how exactly did that work? Where would you guys travel to?
Oh, we had meets, so anything like in Indiana, we would take a bus at Indiana, but anything far away, like we would fly if it was farther away. One time we had a meet at William and Mary, cross country meet, and I remember getting on the plane with our team. We had special travel uniform, like a dress shirt that we would wear that said Michigan State Track on it. And I walked on the plane, and in first class was Flip Saunders, who I guess was in Detroit interviewing about that time for the Pistons
Yeah,
job,
I remember
the
that.
head coach. And I remember recognizing him on the plane and, not playing it cool at all. I turned around to the kid behind me. I'm like, Mike, that's Flip Saunders. And he definitely heard me. Flip just kind of looked and was but he was super nice. We all got off the plane and I was like, you guys, we should try to go talk to him. But we were all in uniform and he was super friendly and asked us about our meet. But yeah, traveling with the team, it's fun. You build relationships with people. You get to know people in ways that it's really great. And runner athletes, college in general, are just interesting group. So made for a good experience in itself.
Now, how much difference is running in high school compared to college?
Night and day. So that's a big adjustment, and that's why a lot of kids that are good in high school don't necessarily see success in college. In high school, I was probably on the higher end mileage-wise in our high school in terms of number of miles per week we would run in our training. I was probably running about 38 to 43 miles a week, and that was definitely on the higher end. I got to college, and I was running 70, which was definitely on the lower end of our team. We had kids running 90 miles a week or so. And it's not just the mileage, but the intensity. The workouts were a lot tougher. There's a bit of a pecking order aspect to it. It's not like you're on a team of people that are out there to run and are serious about running. And so it's not like you can just take a workout off, because that's not the attitude. That's not why we're there. We're holding each other accountable. And then there's the weight room, recovery stuff, cold tub, massage, all of these aspects, the time commitment, the traveling and the weekends as well, and the 3 seasons as well, longer seasons, cross country, indoor and outdoor track. That's pretty much the entire academic year, and then some. That you're not just training, but also competing. And the culture, you're around people that are serious about running and went to a program like Michigan State because they wanted to surround themselves with other people that are serious about running and trying to succeed. It's not like in high school where kids are, out there. Some of them, I'm not trying to discredit the competitive. I'm sure some of them are competitive, but some of them are just there to have a good time. Yeah, college is nothing like high school.
With the traveling, how was it traveling and balancing school and balancing your workouts? How did that go for you?
I actually found it to be, I think my grades improved once I found the team, because it gave me kind of a sense of purpose sense of focus. I knew I had to get better at time management. And I mean, it was a challenge, but it just kind of turned me into like a more functional person overall, I would say. Just kind of determined to take care of what I needed to take care of academically, so I had the time I needed to train.
Now, when you got into your meets or in your events, was it a group mentality, or did you guys all for one or one for all?
So I mean, running is unique in that way where it's your individual performance is your individual performance, but you're adding it all up to form the team performance. So you're out there trying to run your best race, and it's helpful, absolutely helpful and calming to be warming up and maybe even doing the first part of the race around teammates. It's comforting people that you've been doing workouts with, but at the end of the day, it's your trying to run as fast as you can run, and so that's not really a detriment or to anyone else.
How competitive were you with all of your other teammates?
I mean, we were pretty competitive with each other, I would say. Maybe I was less so. I guess because I've always enjoyed the team goals more. They've just been more motivational for me. But there's definitely an aspect of, people are vying for spots on the travel team, on the team that goes to nationals, those top spots on the team. And if you're faster than someone else on your team, that's going to improve your standing on the team. So that's motivation for some people.
Now, did you ever go to nationals?
I was the alternate, so I was there, but I had a particularly bad. So I only ran for 2 years.
Right.
Most of my teammates ran for 5. You get 4 years of eligibility. You get 5 years to use them. I only had 2 years, and looking back, I definitely regret not staying for a third year. But so the only year really that I was good, I kind of bombed at the conference meet, and I was an alternate on the nationals in the nationals race, it was frustrating. It was disappointing, but I was happy to at least be there and have that experience. Just sad kind of knowing it was my one shot, but you do what you got to do to support the team, and that was my role. And I had to just focus on doing that the best I could.
Right. Like you said, you only ran for 2 years. It seemed like you had a lot of ground to catch up. Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Just the fact that you go from not being a collegiate runner to being a collegiate runner, just for showing up and working hard. You never gave up on a sport that you love, and obviously it shows with what we're going to talk about later on. You've never given up, and it's getting you places that do you imagine being where you've been so far?
Never, ever. And the professional career, again, was just when I was in college. I was not one of the best runners, and I know a lot of that. Almost, I would say like almost anyone on the team deserved to have a professional career over me. I don't know. It is extremely rare. I don't know kind of how it happened, and at the time, if you would have told me it was possible, I would have said no. And probably every step of the way, just like in high school, do you ever think you're going to be running at the next level? No, there's no way. But it's just it's a sport that there's always a possibility to just take a stab at it and see what happens. And maybe it'll just be crazy. I don't know.
Now, normally, do runners get better with age, or how does that work?
Typically, you will start at the shorter distances. You'll focus on those for a while. You don't really get. I would say most runners don't get faster after like age 27, but at the marathon, since it's so endurance-based, your mid-30s are sort of your peak years generally. But, I mean, obviously everyone's physiology is very different, and there's a lot of variability in that for each person. But most of the top elite runners peak in, like, their mid-30s.
Okay, now you said something about going professional. Now you're technically a professional runner. How does one become a professional runner?
Oh, I mean, just it's kind of, I guess, like post-collegiate.
Okay.
You really use that however they use it. Competitive. I mean, I don't know if it's not like there's a league or anything.
Okay.
I mean, most people would probably say if you have like a shoe deal, you would be considered a professional, but you could also just win stuff. I don't know. I just use that kind of generally to refer to, I guess, post-collegiate.
Okay, gotcha.
Would be the more appropriate term.
Right. So do you remember what your senior season was like? Let's go with your whole senior year of college. How was that?
I mean, it was the best, probably one of the best years of my life. I was still just really grateful for the experience of having, I felt like I didn't have to sacrifice anything. I had good friendships with people that I'd met along the way in college, and I was graduating with a degree that I felt would be useful, and just having that athletics experience that I never thought would be possible for me, but it's just like an incredibly special feeling. Yeah, it went by really fast. I will say that. But
it always does.
It was
always
a lot of
does.
work too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you graduate from Michigan State. What did you do from there?
Again, that was another point in my life where I was sad, but also very sure that was it for me running wise. Like I said, it's extremely rare to be competitive on the next level after college, and I just sort of thought, oh wow, like, man, that was really cool. I had that experience. And then I moved down to Nashville for work, and just sort of, I guess, met some people running. Just socially, you sort of gravitate towards runners because that's what I know and what I enjoy. And I'm sure one of the big races in town is the Country Music Marathon.
Okay.
And people, it's a big deal. A lot of people are involved in it. People don't particularly take it seriously. Locals, at that point, there was still a considerable prize purse, so it drew some elites in. And I'm sure just probably one night after a couple of years, I probably agreed that I would train for this thing with my buddy. And so I did it. I did a marathon, and I had never done a half marathon, and it was awful. I walked 3 times. I ran really slow, still to this day, definitely my slowest time. I got done and laid on the grass, and I told him, I hate you, and I'm never doing this again.
How long is a half marathon?
A half marathon is 13.1 miles. This is a full.
Pass?
It was 26.2.
Oh, geez. Oh,
yeah.
No.
I definitely hated it. And then I don't know what made me do it, but then next year this kind of the same thing happened again, where some friends were trying to get me, like, oh, we're all going to Birmingham and we're going to run the Mercedes Marathon. And this one had a bigger prize purse and kind of drew also a pretty competitive set, some fast runners. And I don't know what happened, but I did it again, and I signed up for it, and I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And then the night before, I was out with some friends and just eating nachos and drinking margaritas, and I was like, all right, well, this will be fun / awful. I don't know why I'm doing this again. And then the next day, it was my second marathon, and my first one had gone horribly. And for some reason, it didn't go horribly. There was one woman who was ahead of me, but I was starting to pull up with the front pack, and yeah, so the winner won by a considerable amount. But then I finished second, and I qualified for the Olympic trials.
Oh, wow.
It was much faster than my first one. It was kind of another one of those moments that was just like, well, how did this happen? Geez, I guess I'm doing this now. And so the woman that won that race, Camille Herron, is now pretty much one of the world-renowned ultra runners. She's broken so many different records in ultra marathoning at this point. I can't even keep track, but now just an insane ultra runner. But she was super helpful, and just talking to her after when I had to fill out, I remember it was my first time winning prize money, and you have to fill out your W-2, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and she was just like helping me, like guiding me around at the awards, like, and it's just a great, I guess, guide. Is sort of like, oh, this is my world now. And it has been like really helpful since. Every time I've reached out to her, just asking for questions and help. But so that happened, and then I guess from then on, it was just, this became something that I was going to do competitively.
Now, going into the race at Birmingham, did you even know that was a possibility to even be able to compete at the, or what did you?
Like a possibility, but not a possibility for me. I wasn't a fast runner, and my first marathon certainly didn't go very well. Again, it was not something that I ever thought would ever be attainable for me, and I was okay with it. It was definitely not a goal I ever had.
Do you think the nachos and the margaritas might have helped?
Absolutely, for sure.
Is that
the electrolytes?
Is that the pre-race meal now? Every time you got to go do that every night?
No. Well, I am very superstitious, and it's 2 Dos Equis.
Okay.
The night before.
Gotcha. Okay, so you run the race in Birmingham, and what do you do after that?
Honestly, so I've run like 13 marathons at this point. I ran the trials in Houston. Those were my first Olympic trials. I remember just, seeing all my idols racing. There's just famous marathoners and being so close to them, and it was just a wild experience. My family came down, some of my friends came down, and something that was like, I definitely want to do this again in 4 years. And then at some point, I guess a few years after that, I moved, or maybe like maybe that year, I moved to Toronto and got hooked up with a group there with some coaches that were just really great, and started to see some real improvement at that point in my times. And from there, I ran Chicago, qualified again for the LA trials, had my fastest marathon to date at that point, and finished it in one of the top American categories, and won some more prize money. And then the next year, I ran the USA Champs in Minnesota. Some of my friends were running, and finished second there. And that was my fastest time, still my fastest time to date, and sort of, I guess, kept kind of reframing what was possible in what I wanted to do career-wise. The more success that you have, that's bound to happen. And then, I just kept running more races, went to LA, went to those trials, met Rihanna in the elevator.
Nice.
Yeah. And then...
Did she have her umbrella?
No, she was making all these like weird sounds, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I turned around and looked, and she was like sandwiched between 2 like massive bodyguards. I didn't even recognize in the moment, because I just saw the bodyguards, and I turned around and looked. But my friends that were in the elevator with me, we got out, and they're like, Laura, that was Rihanna in the elevator. I was like, oh, I totally missed it. But we got in the elevator, and she was like, sorry, new elevator friends, but it's about to get real weird in here, and then just started making her warm-up sounds.
Oh, okay.
And I got out of the elevator. I'm like, what was that?
You're like a celebrity magnet.
Yeah.
Is there any other celebrity stories that I need to know about before we move forward?
Well, so that when I checked into the hotel, David Grohl was ahead of me checking in. It was the Grammys that weekend as well in LA.
Oh, wow.
And for some reason, they decided to put up the athlete right next to the Staples Center. So we were all like sharing the hotel basically with all the people going to the Grammys.
I probably would have like geeked out to Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
How did you handle yourself?
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah, I was unable to handle myself around Flip Saunders, but I kept my composure.
You played it cool with Dave Grohl.
Thankfully. Yeah, I learned, yes.
That's funny. That's funny. So how close were you to making the Olympics?
Not close at all. I haven't really ran very well at the trials, and they take the top 3.
Okay.
Those people are just otherworldly fast, and that's not something. I mean, I was actually seated 21st in LA, finished a lot worse than that. I don't even remember what I finished. I couldn't even tell you what my place was, but it was not 21st. But the top 3 go on, so that's still farther out than anything I ever had a shot at. But
Right. Okay.
It was nice being there,
Right. And it's an experience and it's a story. Not many people could say, yeah, I was right behind Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm more or less, but you got the chance to participate in an Olympic trial. I know one person that has gotten to participate in a Olympic trial, and I'm talking to her right now. So shows how many people get a chance at this. So
yeah, I keep going back for more. So it's obviously.
How many marathons have you run?
I think like 15 at this point.
Okay. Which one has been your favorite one to run?
Well, that would definitely be the USA Champs in Minnesota, because that was my fastest one.
Okay.
And when you're competitive, I don't know, that's just the fun. This is something our coach in college used to say when he got the idea, probably from, it was my behavior contributed to this, that we were just like laughing and not serious and goofing around on trips when we would compete. And he's like, you're allowed to have fun when we go out to compete, but the fun comes from immersing yourself in competition, not just goofing around.
Right.
And for some reason, I mean, gosh, like so many things that my college coach told me just still stick with me today. And that's one of them, is like, man, the fun really comes from immersing yourself in the competition. And so if I had to pick a favorite one, it would definitely be the one where I was the most competitive, because that's just kind of who I am.
Now, when's your next marathon?
Well, I'm supposed to run Saturday, but I'm feeling kind of sick. I was supposed to do Bayshore, the marathon.
Okay. Now,
it's in Traverse City.
Okay.
But we'll see if I'm feeling better by then.
Right. How do you prepare for one?
It takes several months. So most marathoners, people that are competitive, try to do, 1 or 2 a year, never more than that, because there's a training cycle involved with it that involves building up base and then getting to more marathon-specific training. And, my coach could explain this a lot better than I can. I'm thankful I just kind of do what I get told to do.
Right.
But it's a several-month process, and it involves, like different phases, a base phase. But your weekly mileage, I'm probably like on the lower side for most of the people I know. I probably run like 85 to 95 ideally in my peak weeks during training. But I have friends that have trained for marathons doing 130 miles a week, and that's not, unheard of by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, I just got a little woozy there thinking about that. So,
yeah.
Wow. Okay. How often do you work out?
Do a workout or just run
how long
something?
Like, for example, today, what would you, if you weren't sick, what would you be doing today?
Well, today, this morning I ran, there's a mountain by my house, Mount Sanitas. I ran up it and then down it. It took me about an hour and a half round trip from my house. So normally I would probably supplement that with some strength training stuff, but I gave myself a pass because I'm feeling sick.
Right. Okay, now you're doing all this. You're preparing for marathons. Okay, now we got to talk about this real quick, because you're not only are you doing that, but you're also a lawyer. When did you go back to get your JD from the University of Michigan?
I started there in 2014, graduated 2018 because it's a 3-year degree.
Yep.
So I was unfortunately in Ann Arbor for 3 years, actually not a bad place for running, but a bad place if you like the beautiful colors of green and white.
Exactly. How did Michigan come into the picture?
So I guess in law school, well, they have a pretty good law school. And that was kind of important because it's not easy to get a job if you go to a law school. That would have been a lot harder to become employed afterwards, which was kind of a key concern for me, going from having a career, a very stable career, to going back to school. I wasn't about to do it if it was going to be something that was going to be a real struggle to find work. So I guess it just kind of came from wanting to go somewhere where I knew there would be employment opportunities, and they gave me a scholarship, so it seemed like a good fit.
Right. My best friend graduated from Michigan State and then went to Michigan State Law and graduated from there. So he, like you said,
double Spartan.
He is a double Spartan.
Right.
He did it right. That's why I was like, I know there's law schools up at Michigan State. I was just kind of concerned. You probably got better bang for your buck for that one. So, but as long as you didn't participate in any of the Go Blue chants, we're all set, right?
No, I definitely used the student ID to get tickets to games where I was cheering for the other team. So
nice.
That was pretty much my experience there.
Okay, so you graduate from law school. Where are you currently working at?
I am working at the Office of University Counsel at Colorado Boulder.
Okay.
So I just can't get away from these college campuses. So I'm in Boulder.
Right. What exactly do you do there?
So we are basically the in-house counsel for the university. Sort of, we handle anything that walks in the door, whether it be, students. There's just such a variety. I'm going to spit out a couple of things, but it's just like student disability accommodations. We do employment law matters, contract, land contract, athletics stuff. One thing that I had to work on was we had some issues with the seating in Folsom Field stadium seating, so dealing with the suppliers on that. It's like an in-house legal department for a university.
Okay.
So sort of like anything that you would be doing at a major corporation, but then also like a lot of higher ed specific stuff related to students and academic units as well. But I love it. You never know what's gonna hit you every day.
Now, is it hard to balance training and work?
It is, but that's kind of something that I've always done, even since college. I was probably one of the only people. I think I was probably the only one on the team that had a job. It was just a part-time job while I was in college. So it's just kind of something that's always seemed normal to me, and it's kind of nice. I'm a kind of a person that will overthink things and sort of get in my own way, as again my college coach would say. So it's nice to sort of, when you have an off day training, have somewhere else to focus your energy for a while. I think it's ultimately a more sustainable route, and probably why I've continued to run all these years when so many people just get burnt out after competing.
What about your social life? Is it difficult to have a social life too?
I wouldn't say I've had a lot of trouble. I probably hang out with runners probably more so than your typical person, but I'm out here and I have friends that ski as well. We find other stuff to do. Yeah, I'd say do I have to run on my own a lot? Does it take up a lot of my time? Sure, but there's always going to be some time. I don't have a family or children, so there's that. Other people have that to deal with, which I'm sure takes up more time than my training.
Now, are you going to participate in the Olympic trials again? I believe it's in Houston this year.
It's in Atlanta in 2020.
Wrong. I knew it was in Atlanta too. Sorry.
Yeah, well, Houston was the first one, I think 2012, and then LA was 2016, and then 2020 will be in Atlanta, and that's like next February.
I even knew that, and I only said Houston because that's the original one. But yeah, so you're gonna go to Atlanta?
Yeah, because I already mentioned it. Yeah, so I'll be in Atlanta for those.
Where is the facility for that? What are you going to run on the, what is it, the 1996 Olympics were there? Or is that new
yeah,
facilities?
and I think that the course does actually go through part of the course from the 1996 Olympics. I don't know. I haven't really studied the course as much as I should have. I've heard that it's a hillier course than what we had in LA, but I'm not surprised. Atlanta's pretty hilly.
Right.
And I'm not really concerned because I live in Boulder now.
Right. Now, real quick question before we move forward. All the stuff that I hear about happening to people's bodies during marathons, is it true what they say? Like, I know guys have certain issues with, chafage, and do you prepare for stuff like that? I mean, how does one prepare for stuff like that?
Chafing, once you're in training, if you're running, 85, 95 miles a week, you know exactly where you're going to have, problem spots. And if you want to put, there's stuff you can buy, on the seams of your clothes or whatever. I would say a much more tougher thing to deal with is, hydration and calories, because you never know what the stomach is going to feel. I mean, you try as best as you can to get that all dialed in on your training, but it's always, you never want to wake up and have
stomach issues,
anything unexpected happening there.
Yeah. I heard a story about one of the marathon runners having issues with their bowels, but we're just going to skip right past that and move on. Now it's time for the fun segment of the show, a chance to get to know the other side of Laura Portis. Is there any special talents that most people don't know you possess?
Well, I'm not exactly super humble, so probably not, because I probably have told people. I like to think I'm really good at starting fires, like campfires. I don't know.
Is that a
talent?
I thought you were going to say you were an instigator and getting people to fight against each other. But yeah, starting fires, that is, that's a good thing to do if you like to go camping.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, take me camping. I'm that friend.
It's just made me think of something really bad about Michigan State and couches. That whole lighting fires thing didn't come from that, did it?
Another fun fact about me is I have actually never burned a couch.
There you go. Okay.
So that's something that a lot of people probably wouldn't expect,
right.
Knowing me. Another talent I have is when I was at Michigan State, I took a wine tasting course.
Okay.
And I know a lot about wine, and I'm really good at buying wine.
That's good. Yeah. I'm horrible at buying wine or tasting wine. My wife wants to go do the wine testing or wine tasting, and I don't know if I could do that. It's a lot of different flavors at once. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe if next time you go to college, definitely pick up that 400
right.
level class. Definitely worth it.
Right. Was that an elective, or did you need that to become a statistics graduate?
To become a statistician. Strangely enough, there were no other people from my major in that class. You would have thought statisticians and wine tasting would just go hand in hand, but actually no. No actuaries in the wine tasting class.
Let me guess, it was all educators?
It was a lot of so Michigan State being an agricultural school, it was a lot of the sciences, and then also horticulture students as well, people that were looking to grow their own grapes.
Okay, good. That's cool. Okay, if they made a movie about you, who would star in it?
Everyone tells me I look like Jodie Foster.
Oh, wow. Okay. I see it.
Really
I see it.
But,
I do. Some of your older pictures,
maybe.
Yes. I was thinking that or Brie Larson.
Oh, no. She's not my favorite Avenger.
Oh, okay.
I would hope not.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't know.
It's okay.
So, all right, if you could go back in time and observe any event in history without changing the outcome, what would it be?
Without changing the outcome? I'm a big sports fan, so I'd probably pick some sort of athletic event. I would probably go back and watch the Spartans win the national championship again.
Right, in Indianapolis, not too far away. Yeah, that'd have been a good one to be
I
at,
actually
too.
have a piece of that court.
No way.
My buddy got it for me for Christmas. It's sitting right here in my living room. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I saw that they were selling it, and I'm like, oh man, I tried to get a piece of it before but it was all sold out. So.
Yeah, I got one that happened to have sneaker marks on it, so that's pretty special.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's cool. All right, if you could meet any celebrity, who would it be?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll continue. Maybe, no, we'll go with the sports theme. That's a tough one. There's just so many options. It should be easier than it is.
Well, I'm sure you're used to dealing with harder questions being a lawyer, so these more simple tasks are a little bit more difficult.
I mean, part of me wants to say like LeBron James, but I feel like I've been such a basketball fanboy this whole time that I need to pick something else. But I would really love to meet LeBron James.
I can't name anybody that wouldn't want to meet LeBron James, and if they don't, then they're lying.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Right. So, okay, is there any songs on your playlist that you might be embarrassed if I got a chance to look at it?
No, I've just like absolutely fully own up to all of my embarrassing music choices. I lived in Canada for a while, and so you will definitely find a lot of Drake and a lot of Bieber.
Right.
And
Bare Naked Ladies?
Not sorry.
Right. No, I'm a huge Bieber fan. We have a pregame playlist that I play over the loudspeakers during our warm-ups, and I'm occasionally will throw in a Justin Timberlake, a Justin Bieber, or a Drake if it's clean. But I'm not afraid to admit that I'm a Bieber fan.
Okay. Yeah.
When you said Canada, I thought you were going to go with like Bare Naked Ladies and like Alanis Morissette.
I mean, there's so much talent from there. Rush. There's so many ways you could go.
Right.
A lot of great Canadians.
Right. The Crash Test Dummies. I don't know if you remember them. Yep. All right. Is there any movies or TV shows that you watch?
Well, I no longer watch Game of Thrones because it's over as of last night, but I did watch that entire thing. I wish I hadn't watched the last season. And I'm big into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so watched pretty much most of those.
Okay.
I like cheesy action movies. That's my favorite.
That's what I like Marvel. I didn't really like superhero movies, and I watched and I think what turned me off on it was I watched Superman versus Batman, the Ben Affleck one, and it was awful.
Oh yeah.
So I thought all superhero movies were like that. And we actually watched Captain Marvel when we were down in Florida, and just the quirky, humorous, action movie that was there got me into watching, all the Avengers, both Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. So I'm excited about.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I love the music. You watch it just for the music.
Yeah, I like Baby Groot.
Great movie.
But yeah, have you seen Endgame yet?
I have. Yep.
I have not yet. I have not yet. It's hard. It's hard to block.
I won't spoil it.
It's hard to block 3 hours of your life for that. So.
Yeah, and I had to. I actually read when they recommended for you to get up to go pee because I knew I wasn't going to make it through 3 hours.
Right.
So and I didn't want to miss anything, so I actually went and did some research. When the best time to go.
There's an actual place that says, hey, you should go to the bathroom at this point. Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. People have done the work for you.
There you go. Gotta love the internet these days.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So Captain Marvel isn't one of your favorites. Who is your favorite?
Oh, I like Thor and Loki for sure. They're probably my two favorite characters. Yeah, Ragnarok is probably my favorite MCU movie.
Okay, I haven't gone down that strain yet. That was my next one. I started watching Black Panther, but I kind of got caught up with watching other things. So I think
that's a good one. I like the fight sequences in that one, but in terms of hilarity and just general likability of the characters, I think Ragnarok is just great.
Okay. Do you have any weird pre-race rituals or routines?
Well, there's the 2 Dos Equis that I drink the night before, and I get mad if I can't, facilitate that. Music, yeah, I have particular songs that I listen to. There's a lot of times you're in when you're going to these races and you're in the elite corral or whatever, they have like a special tent, and it's just a bunch of other elite runners and it's people sitting there, and they're like either warming up or just sitting there being nervous, and I just always put my headphones on and kind of zone out and like listen to music. And I think that probably maybe it looks like I'm not really keyed up for the race at all, but it's just, I mean, you got 26.2 miles to run. I'm not a big fan of wasting a lot of energy before the race starts. So I'd say like a big part of my pre-race ritual is sleeping a lot.
Right. I guess I could be a good runner then if that's a good ritual. I'm really good at that.
I think it's very key.
Right. Okay, so you said you have a playlist. What do you have on your playlist?
Like I said, probably a lot of disproportionate amount of Canadian artists. I mean, I'm old, so like, I don't know, Eminem, but there's a big range of stuff. It's got to be all kinds of genres, basically from like rap to classic rock. A lot of rap, a lot of classic rock, I would say. Usually Zeppelin.
Nice.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar.
Nice.
Lil Wayne.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Artists I actually
never
know.
like to listen to two songs that sound the same.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Okay, now are you allowed to listen to music while you're running?
No, actually, I don't wear a watch. I don't wear a Garmin. I don't bring a phone. I don't have an iPod. I don't have any devices on me whatsoever. I just go run. It's just kind of like I want to be focused on the running aspect of it and not distracted by other things.
Right. Now, what are you thinking about when you're running?
Wishing I could run faster usually. But it also, I mean, I live here in Boulder, Colorado. It's kind of a running mecca, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. It just kind of spend a lot of time thinking about how in awe I am of just everything around me. That sounds kind of like a stupid hippie thing to say, but
no.
It's really easy to practice gratitude out here.
Good. That's cool. Gatorade or Powerade?
Ooh, yeah, Gatorade. Just regular Gatorade.
Any specific type?
I only drink it like during a race.
Right.
But
just whatever they give you.
Gatorade.
Now, do you usually go with like tall socks or ankle socks, or no socks?
Oh, I like to switch it up. I have all different sizes of sock, and that's a big question. You know, when I wake up in the morning, what size sock today? Yeah, so it's just another thing for me to overthink about that probably doesn't really matter, but I'll spend way too much time trying to decide.
Right. If you could have one job the rest of your life, what would it be?
Major League Baseball pitcher.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? Is that from your grandpa?
No, it's just what I've always wanted to do. Well, maybe that was it. Yeah. I think that would be the most fun. Yeah, I've always been insanely jealous of Justin Verlander.
I think if you see Kate Upton, everybody's jealous of Justin Verlander.
Yet another reason to be jealous of Justin.
Are you a Nike or Adidas fan?
Shoes wise, I mean, I like the style, the Nike style. I can't really run in the Nike anymore, but
what do you run in?
Man, those are some sexy shoes. I wear usually either Saucony or Skechers, generally depending on what I'm using it for. At any point in time, I have like 3 or 4 pairs of shoes that I'm alternating, and like I have a pair of trail shoes, a pair of racing flats, a pair of road shoes. So yeah, it's another thing. It's when you run this much, it's a little weird.
Now, when they say it is important what type of shoe you wear, it obviously is when you're running, right? Yeah,
I actually recently, in the past couple of years, had sort of a super major foot injury, and I had an MRI, and I might have to have surgery. And so for me, it's become I was never really that picky about it before, but when you'll find out your body will sometimes after running 85, 90 miles a week, your body will start telling you if there's something that's not right about your shoe, and you better listen.
Right. And what's your favorite food?
Mustard.
Mustard. Put it on everything.
I do. Everything is a medium for mustard.
Right. I just tried the other day pretzels with mustard, hot mustard. Never had it in my entire life.
You've just tried that?
I just tried it. I am so slow to the game on everything. Everything. I'm just now getting into the Big Bang Theory. So, I mean, I'm late to the show for the Avengers. I'm late to the show for this. I might even start Game of Thrones. I heard that's pretty good. I guess that's been out for a while.
Yeah, just 8 years. Gosh. 9 years?
9? Ooh.
9 years.
Well, I guess you didn't want to count the last year, did you?
Yeah, if we could just cancel that one,
right,
that'd be good. Just pretend it never happened.
Right. Favorite cheat day food?
I'm not like a big, necessarily sweets person, but I guess ice cream, plain vanilla ice cream.
Okay, gotcha. Any toppings on it or just plain?
Nope.
No. Okay. Favorite sports movie?
Major League, I would say.
Nice.
Dating myself.
No, you're not. I'm older than you are, and I remember that. I remember all two and a half movies. I'm counting the third one as a half because that really doesn't count. But now being in Boulder, how far from the Colorado Rockies are you guys?
Denver is Denver's huge. Parts of it are maybe 45 minutes away. Probably about 45 minutes away from Coors Field. Right.
Have you obviously caught a game out there yet?
I have not yet. And in fact, the Tigers don't even play there this year at all. So, but I will have to go to a game.
Right. Now, is there anything special
when I lived in Detroit, I used to ride my bike to Comerica. That's how close I was.
Nice.
That was pretty nice.
So you obviously watched a lot of Tigers game there?
Yes.
That's cool. Any favorite Tiger other than Justin Verlander?
My favorite Tiger of all time is Cecil Fielder.
No way. Wow.
Yes.
You remember Cecil and Mickey Tettleton, Rob Deere. So you're back in my era. Chet Lemon, Sweet Lou. I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember all of them, but there was
Cecil was Cecil.
Definitely good. Probably my favorite player of all time was Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay. Him to this day.
That was sort of when I came of age.
Right, yeah. It makes sense. To this day, he's the only person I will allow to wear a hat backwards. Anytime I see a kid on our team wearing his hat backwards, I tell him to turn it around because you are not Ken Griffey Jr.
Fair enough. I'm sure that I don't know if Ken Griffey Jr. would listen to you if you told him that anyway.
No. So one of my buddies that I went to high school with, he ended up working for Nike out in Oregon, and he got his picture taken. Now he got a picture of Ken Griffey while he was out there, and I took it and I posted it on someone else's Facebook and said, "Wow, this kind of looks like your son." And then he ripped me a new one. He's like, "Don't be taking my pictures." I'm like, "You put it up there publicly. I mean, and it's not a picture of you."
How the internet works.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So. But yeah, Ken Griffey Jr., huge fan. Is there anything special that you collect?
Well, I've moved a lot. I've moved from East Lansing to Nashville to Toronto to Detroit to Ann Arbor and now to Boulder. So it's I've not really had the opportunity to just take a lot of things with me in terms of collections. Okay. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say.
Okay.
Probably not. The things that I, tend to geek out over, wine, I end up drinking it. So
nice. Well, it's
not really good to collect.
I mean, it's what it's there for. I mean, I know some people will collect it and hold on to it and try to. I don't know what else they would do with it, but I mean, I don't know. To each their own.
That's a waste.
Right. All right. What is your go-to meal to cook when you're by yourself?
Usually, most days, because I don't really cook, just have like hummus with veggies and like bread or something.
Mustard.
Haven't actually tried mustard on hummus yet, but, it's probably only a matter of time.
Right. I'm surprised. All right, what was your first car?
Pontiac Sunfire. It was a car I bought from my sister for a very good deal. And I didn't have it very long before I crashed it into a pole.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, not paying attention.
It happens. I mean, everybody's done some crazy things when they're young.
Yeah, it's another thing that really makes me feel old, that my two first cars, Pontiac Sunfire, and then I had a Saturn. Okay. Those companies, they don't even exist. Those manufacturers don't even exist anymore.
Right. That does kind of age you. Jeez. I thought I was old.
Yeah.
My first one was a Ford Escort, so, I mean, right up there with a Sunfire and a Saturn, kind of, that car doesn't exist.
In college, I used to sell beer at the Lug Nuts games.
Okay.
At Oldsmobile Park.
Yep.
Oldsmobile also no longer
That's what,
no longer around.
Cooley Law Stadium.
Yeah.
Been to a couple games there. So finally, this is my favorite part of the show. Past weeks have been epic. I'm giving you clues about famous people named Laura. It's a little trivia time. See how well you know Laura Portis. Basically, how this is going to work. I don't know how well you know pop culture, but in the past 2 weeks, it's been very successful. So hopefully, it goes good with this one. So good luck.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is. It's a. Yeah. I just think I got a couple of basic names. I think I realized that Laura is a little bit more difficult to get people that are famous with this name. No,
there's still some history to be written for Laura.
There you go.
I would say
that's true. That is true. Exactly. All right. So time to play Name the Laura. Number one. This Laura is a television actress who became known as Donna Pizzicati on the hit Fox show That 70s Show. She also later starred as Alex Voss on The Orange is the New Black. Name that Laura.
Laura Prepon?
Yep. Yes.
Prepon?
I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I guess I should have.
Okay.
It's close enough. You know who I'm talking about. I thought I was gonna struggle with this too, just because announcing people's last names or announcing names is probably the hardest thing for me to do. So, but probably shouldn't play this game if I didn't know how to pronounce them. But yeah, 1 for 1. So good. All right. Number 2.
It can only go downhill.
I don't know. I thought that might have been one of the hardest ones to get. So. But, all right, number 2, this Laura is the author of an autobiographical American pioneer-themed Little House on the Prairie series. Name that Laura.
Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Yep, there we go. Great show. Did you ever watch that growing up?
I know, but I have read all the books.
Okay, yes. I always forget there was books on that. That just shows how, I wouldn't say simple I am, but I just knew it for the TV show, and I'm like, wow, they made a book out of the TV show. And they were like, no, it's the other way around. So, but yeah.
Yeah, there's no point in doing both,
Right, exactly. All right, number 3. 2 for 2 so far. This Laura is former First Lady. Name this Laura.
Oh, Laura Bush.
Right, there we go. Good old George W.'s wife, Laura Bush. So, I'm trying to remember when he was in
He was a former teacher.
Oh, that's right. That's true. I keep forgetting about that. Yeah. She married rich. I mean, oh, just kidding. But yeah, good old Laura Bush. All right, number 4. This one might be tough. This one was kind of a stretch, but I tried to go into your realm of distant running. This Laura is a British mid-distance runner who competed in the 1,500 meters. She also reached the finals at the 2012 Summer Olympics in London. She won the silver medal at the 2014 Commonwealth Games. Name this Laura.
I have no idea. I might recognize it if you tell me, but
yeah, and I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know if runners know about each other, or like I know swimmers know about Michael Phelps and stuff like that. But this is Laura Waitman.
Oh, okay. I have heard that name. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually.
All right. So
I probably know more. Easily to recognize American names.
Gotcha. I couldn't find any like American Lauras except for obviously you. So that's what popped up in the Google search. So, all right, number 5. So we're we're 3 for 4. Not too bad. You're still hitting 750. So that's a good thing. All right.
It's in the Hall of Fame.
Right. There you go. Exactly. What? 3 out of 10 get you in the Hall of Fame. So, all right. Finally, number 5. This Laura is an American actress, 3-time Academy Award nominee and 3-time Tony Award nominee. She won her first Emmy Award in 2012 for Wild Iris and had wins for Frasier and John Adams. She is currently stars in Netflix popular show called The Ozark. Name this Laura.
I really have no idea, but I'm going to guess Laura Linney.
Nope, that's perfect. Yeah, what a great guess. That's a half court shot right there. Yeah, made it.
Okay.
Stephen Curry style.
Throw up a prayer.
Yep. So yeah, Laura Linney. Yeah, she is. There's other things that she was in. I don't know if she was in like what's that Christmas movie with like I can't remember, the English movie where it has all the stories going all together, and I can't remember what it's called.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember. I'll cut this part out of the show. Make us sound both really intelligent on this part. Well, at least I'm sounding pretty stupid right now, but yeah. So, all right, we made it for that. Not too bad. 4 out of 5. Like I said, I never know what people are going to know or not. I just assume most people know as much as I do, and I tend to know a lot about stupid stuff, and that's pretty much it. So, but yeah, that was it. 4 for 5 again. That's a pretty good shot. So.
I'll take it.
Right.
I will take it.
Well, that's all we have. Before we go, is there anything that you want to talk about or, give any shout outs to anybody?
I mean, not anyone in particular. I've been really fortunate to have supportive friends, family, coaches, and I'm very appreciative of that. And I think that they all know how much that means to me. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Again, thank you for being part of my show. It's been a blast. Thanks for kind of scheduling and rescheduling and just kind of the conflict that we had with me knowing what time zone you're in. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I had a blast. I hope you had fun too. And good luck in Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And I hope you get rid of the cold that you have.
Yes, me too.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, that's number 15 in the books. Again, thank you for Laura for joining me in the Baird Cave on the Baird phone. What an awesome time I had with her. I hope you could tell what a genuine person she was and how much fun she has. Oh, wow. To be an athlete like that, to think that they were almost done with their career, and then just out of nowhere, you get a chance to do it again. And then again, when you're thinking you were done again, you get another chance to keep doing it. So if you are an athlete and you believe and you dream, it shows that you can just keep doing things like that. It's awesome. It was awesome to have her be part of the show. Can you think of someone else that might be a good fit? Please let me know. You can subscribe, follow, share, all those fun things. Click the bell, get notifications on when my next podcast comes out. Be notified. Please comment. Let me know what I'm doing. Let me know if you like something I'm doing. Let me know if you don't like what I'm doing. Help me make a better show for you. This is all for you. This is not for me. Check out previous episodes too. You can find the Baird Necessities on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter at the Baird NEC. And please send me some email. If there's something I'm missing, let me know. If there's someone you want to get on this show, it doesn't have to be football. It doesn't have to be basketball. Heck, we'll talk about running. We just did that. I am willing to talk to any athlete, any school. It doesn't matter who it is. Let me know. Spread the word. I want to get anybody that wants to talk to me that has a great story. We'll sit down and talk and we'll have some fun. Simple as that. Is there something I'm missing? Let me know. Drop me an email at thebairdnec@gmail.com. Tell all your friends. Join me next week. Same Baird time, same Baird channel. It's Coach Baird, and you've been listening to the Baird Necessities. Good night.